even be here. And here's why. This one is actually pretty mind-blowing, because we know the size of Earth. We know the size of the moon. We know the weight of the moon because we got the rocks and we can figure out the weight of the moon. And we know the weight of Earth. That weight put out a gravitational force. The weight of the moon put out a gravitational force. We know how much they are. We know how fast the moon is moving around Earth. And because it is in a curved path around Earth, it creates centrifugal force. We know how much that centrifugal force is because we know how fast the moon is traveling and how far away it is. If you feed all that into the computer, the moon cannot hold the orbit that it has. It is impossible. It's too big, too heavy. It has to be about 2/3 further away from Earth in order to hold an orbit around Earth, if it is solid. But if it is hollow, it could make perfect sense that it would be in this closer orbit because it wouldn't weigh so much.
That makes logical sense, because don't forget, they crashed one of the landers on the moon, and they claimed it rang for hours like a bell. Yeah. And that tells me if it was solid, it wouldn't have rang. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we haven't gone back there. Maybe it is some type of spaceship, that maybe they're watching us. Maybe
they are.
We are a zoo to them.
I know it. We're a zoo. kind of like a little plant in the backyard that we go out and watch every day. And I have also NASA prints showing green vegetation of the moon, on the moon.
That's the backside, isn't it?
I forget where that is. I can't say right now. It's on my website. You will find it there. There are 2 pictures that show green vegetation. And in fact, I wrote an article also on that website. If you go to March 28, 2016, there's an article there called "What NASA Do Not Want You to Know." You can look for that one. And there is... did you see before the last show that I did? I sent you a video documentary that we did with about 20 pictures of spacecrafts on the moon and stuff like that. Did you remember seeing that?
I couldn't get it to open on my computer. If you could send that back, I would like to see it. It wouldn't open.
That is strange. It was on YouTube.
Yeah, it wouldn't open.
Oh, boy. Then go to broadcastteamalpha.com, and you can scroll down and you find a video called The Moon Pictures. There's also one called The Mars Pictures, which show, in fact, the first picture on there is a picture that was intercepted in the transmission back from Mars back to the moon. It was downloaded before NASA got its hands on it to alter it. And they show a little gray standing 20 feet away from the Mars rover. You can see him clearly.
Interesting. So if that is actual, then we have been lied to like you wouldn't believe.
Well, they opened their mouth, didn't they?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, seriously, here's another thing. I've been doing broadcasting since 76. In the 80s, doing talk shows, that's when people started talking about UFOs. It was funny back then because people would say, I saw a UFO. It was like 50 feet in diameter, 75. Occasionally, somebody would say, hey, it was like about 100 feet in diameter. And, most of it was round. Some of it was cigar shape. But then... nowadays, people are coming and saying, I saw a craft, and it was big as Walmart store. That's how big they are. What is going on?
Well, speaking of big crafts, I have another picture in that picture gallery that show a 3,200-mile long cigar-shaped ship in orbit around Saturn, just right outside of the farthest ring around Saturn. And it's red, it's in the infrared spectrum, and it is right there, and it's a NASA print.
Interesting.
So, a spaceship 3,200 or 300 miles long, we don't make stuff like that.
No, not at all. We don't even have the technology to, who knows what our technology is, but certainly not that. Why would it have to be that big? What do you think we're dealing with?
Well, there are ships like that, and they travel through space, and they go on missions, and they do things, and they have specific purposes. And there are people that is born on those ships. They grow up on those ships. They spend all their lives, which some of them are, hundreds or thousands of years, on the ship, and never set foot on a planet, because that ship is their planet.
Maybe they don't even realize their ship is a planet. I mean, they might think it is.
Yeah, I kind of think they're well-educated, I would think. Yeah. But that's their life, and that's comfortable, that's interesting. They live and do things and have jobs or whatever they do. I don't know. But there they are, all their life.
Interesting. Now, do you ever think, like, we could be invaded? Has that ever come across your mind that maybe one of these humanoid species or whatever, from wherever they come from, might want to take our planet from us one way or the other?
Well, the thing about it is that if they wanted to invade us, time does not work the same for them. They could have done that hundreds of years ago when there would be no opposition. Now, we have particle beam weapons, we have all kinds of nasty stuff already in space. And it is dangerous for them to come here to invade. Why wouldn't they have done it before when they easily could? And I don't think there's going to be any invasion like that. Though there is a planned fake one called Operation Bluebeam, and that is just filling the skies with flying discs, but they're all holograms.
Well, and wouldn't that be basically to put us under martial law?
Yeah. In fact, I did a video documentary on that called "The Aliens and Agenda 21." You can find it on Amazon and different places. In there, I talk about the program that was put together by the dark sides of governments, not just the U.S. I think there is a British contingent to it, and possibly Russians. I'm not sure. I doubt that, but it could be. One of their plans was to scare us into coming in under one world government, because if we are being invaded from space, we have to unite to make us strong so we can oppose them. And we have to submit ourselves to a one-world government. Of course, it's not going to happen, not in my timeline, but that was one of their plans.
Well, how about the FEMA camps? Because I have gotten information here in the past week that something is going on with some of the FEMA camps across the country.
Oh, yeah. They're up and running. They have fully staffed camps. Not all of them, but some of them are. And I know in North Carolina and some of the eastern states, they're rounding up homeless people and putting them in FEMA camps. They tell them, look here, this is what it's going to be like. Come with us. We will give you free housing, free medical care, and you can stay there for as long as you want. Otherwise, we're going to put you in prison.
Now, I just still think about all those coffins that was shown one time in storage from FEMA. Thousands and thousands of coffins. This is going back 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
And that makes me wonder, why would they have all these coffins and all this other stuff? Maybe it's a good way to get rid of a certain society.
Well, look what they're doing in China. I imagine we could probably sell those coffins to them, and they would gladly buy it.
Yeah, well, we might need them for ourselves, the way it's going.
No, we're not.
I hope not.
It won't happen.
So, do you think we have craft? Huge craft. Maybe some of these craft that people are saying that are big and huge, like Walmart stores, could be our crafts.
Oh, yeah. Yep. From a Walmart store, yes. Because some of the German flying saucers, they were as much as... Actually, the Honeyboo 4 was... there was about 70 meters across. That's about 25, 26, 7... 70 meters, that's 210 feet across. And that's a huge ship. So if they did that in 1945 when they flew the Honeyboo 4 the first time, yeah, we could have bigger stuff now, because these things are not built on Earth. They're built on the slave labor camps on the moon.
Yeah, that's what I think. Now, anyway, we need to go for break. We'll be back in 8 minutes. So if you want to get a cup of jabba or whatever, we'll be back talking about, well, aliens, UFOs, the moon, spacecraft, and all that. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
In life's journey, some ask themselves why the big time is passing by. They want it all and they want it now. No need to wonder how or why. They decide to make a connection with the bearer of light from the other side. It's a self-centered new world reflection. It's a one-way ticket for one hell of a ride. They're making a deal. Whether down at the crossroads or Hollywood and Vine, they're making a deal. Gonna have it all for a moment in time. You may be a kingpin drug dealer who wants the competition out of the way. You may be an elite politician who wants total control and a power play. You may be an aspiring entertainer who wants to have their name in lights. You may be a four-star general who wants the upper hand in a global fight. They're all making a deal. With the chief light bearer from the other side, they're making a deal. It's an alternative thing for one hell of a ride.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News. I'm James Creechbaum. And you're scared to go out without a gun. Another mutilated cow in Central Oregon rattles ranchers. She was missing her udder, genitals, tongue, blood, and heart. The cow was mutilated in a remote stretch of land in northern Lake County. The rancher says it takes about an